Welcome to Module 2. In this module, I'm going to be going through the setup process I use when framing and preparing to shoot a time-lapse, as well as an introduction to editing your images and creating your first time-lapse. I've made all of my raw files available to download from the link below this video or in the download sheet, so you can follow along or try on your own with your own editing. Now to get into the video. I'm here in Cabarita Beach, and this first time-lapse is going to be during the day. At the moment it's a bright blue sky day, there's a little bit of cloud hanging around, the waves are rolling in, there's a leading line just down here in front of my camera that I'm going to use to lead into the shot and then use the beach to follow around. The surf lifesavers, are out there. There's heaps of people on the beach, so it'll be great to show a lot of moving around the scene and throughout the time-lapse. I'm framing up my shots starting with making sure that there will be enough room for a full HD crop in editing. The way I do this is by changing the aspect ratio in camera to 16:9, which, when I turn live view on, gives me a guide to make sure that I can fit everything I need into one frame before I go into post-processing. This won't affect the raw file, but it will allow me to make sure that you won't crop out anything important to the final video. And speaking of raw files, I suggest you shoot in RAW. This will give you the most flexibility in post-processing and get the best quality in the final product. When you're setting up the camera, be sure to use manual mode. I've tried doing time-lapses in AV or aperture priority mode and heard it recommended by other people, but I've found that it's one of the biggest causes of flickering. It's the same for shutter priority mode and P mode on your camera. Manual is the only way to get a consistent exposure, as your settings do not change unless you make the changes. I'm going to talk more about this in Module 4 when we do a day to night time-lapse. One more thing I will set manually is my white balance. In conditions like this, I'm going to be setting my white balance to daylight, as that suits the conditions best. Setting it manually will also stop the camera from changing and causing flickering in color. Now onto the intervalometer. If you're using an external intervalometer, I've embedded one of my most popular YouTube videos, which has an in-depth way to set up your intervalometer, which will show you everything you need to know. For my interval time, however, I'm going to go off the equation I did in Module 1 and set it to 3 seconds for 240 images. A quick note on using an external intervalometer is to set your shooting mode to single shot, because sometimes the remote can send a consistent electrical signal, which will set your shutter consistently if you've got it on continual shooting. If you're using a built-in timing setup, you'll need to set that to the interval you want based on your scene. I understand that this may sound like a lot, but once you get into the flow of setting up your camera, it's very quick and easy to set up your shot and start shooting. In the next video, I'm going to start shooting the scene, and then we'll move into the first post-processing video and get this first time-lapse edited. See you in the next video.